Hi, everyone. Today I'm going to read you this story called Hello, Lighthouse. It's written by Sophie Blackall, and she illustrated this story as well. The pictures are just beautiful. One of the things that drew me to this story is I grew up in New England, where seeing a lighthouse was not unusual. But I realize some of you not only may have never seen a lighthouse, but you don't even know what it is. So, lighthouses were built on rocks to protect ships when they're out to sea so that they could see where the land was. And back in olden days, the lamps had to be kept lit with oil. So a lighthouse keeper needed to be on duty all of the time to make sure that the ship stayed safe. Anyhow, let's learn a little bit more about this particular lighthouse. It sure looks pretty to me. On the highest rock of a tiny island at the edge of the world stands a lighthouse. It is built to last forever, sending its light out to sea, guiding the ships on their way. From dusk to dawn, the lighthouse beams. Hello, 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 lighthouse. It's as if its light is a way of saying hello to the ships out there on the sea. The new keeper arrives to replace the old, to carry on tending the light. He polishes the lens and refills the oil and trims the burned end of the wick. Throughout the night, he winds the clockwork that keeps the lamp in motion. During the day, he gives the round rooms a fresh coat of sea green paint. He writes in the logbook and threads his needle and listens, excuse me, to the gathering wind. It's kind of cool to see what the inside of the lighthouse looks like, isn't it? The wind takes a deep breath and blows and blows. It's as if the wind is saying hello back to the lighthouse. The keeper boils water and drinks his tea as he fishes for cod from the window. He sets the table and hums a tune and wishes for someone to talk to. It seems like being a lighthouse keeper might be a lonely job. Every few days, he writes her a letter and throws it into the waves. He tends the light and writes in his logbook and waits for her reply. The sky grows dark and the waves rise and crash. Ooh, that looks a little scary. Hello, hello. The lighthouse keeps saying hello with its light. The keeper looks through his telescope. The tender arrives. That's a boat that brings supplies to the lighthouse. The tender arrives bringing oil and flour and pork and beans and his wife. That must be who he'd been writing to. He shows her around the round rooms of their house. He tends the light. He writes in the logbook and he sets the table for two. The fog makes everything disappear. So a bell must be rung to warn the ships. Clang, clang, clang goes the bell. One thick night, disaster strikes. A boat is wrecked on the rocks. Not a moment to lose, the keeper rows out. He pulls 3 sailors from the deep Black Sea. He tends the light and writes in the logbook and wraps the sailors in blankets. Whew, that was very brave of him, wasn't it? The sea turns into a carpet of ice. Hello, hello. Looks like there's seals out there on the ice. One dawn, the keeper begins to sneeze, and by dusk he is terribly ill. His wife is everywhere all at once, running up and down the spiral stairs. That actually looks a little fun, doesn't it? She tends the light and feeds him broth and chips and ice off the lantern room windows. I guess they don't have a freezer back then. She sits by his side and writes in the logbook the minute the fever breaks. The icebergs pass on their journey south, and the whales pass by on their journey north. Hello, hello. The lighthouse keeper and his wife are up there on the balcony flying a kite. Ooh, that looks like fun. Inside the lighthouse, the woman walks around and around the room. Her husband boils water and helps her breathe in and out. He tends the light and writes in the logbook. Looks like she might be about to have a baby. And notes the birth of their child. The sky erupts in swirls of green. Hello, hello, hello. The tender arrives, bringing oil and flour, pork and beans, and the mail. Along with the fresh books and news from the land, there's an unexpected letter with the Coast Guard seal. The keeper winds the clockwork and polishes the lens, just as he's always done. He tends the light and writes in the logbook, but he knows it's not for long. Together, they watch the horizon. The Coast Guard arrives with a brand new light and installs a machine to run it. No lamp to fill, no wick to trim. The keeper's work is done. He climbs to the top of the spiral stairs and closes the logbook for good. They pack their belongings into the boat and wave farewell to the gulls. Beyond the breakers, they all look up. Goodbye, lighthouse. Goodbye. Goodbye. On the highest rock of a tiny island at the edge of the world stands a lighthouse. It is built to last forever, sending its light out to the sea. The fog rolls in and rolls out. The waves rise and crash. The wind blows and blows. Hello, hello, hello. Over the waves across the bay, a light on the land beams back. Hello, 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 lighthouse. It's the lighthouse keeper and his family. Things have changed, but they still can see the lighthouse. The end. I love that story. In the back of the book here, you can see the author has written about the history of lighthouses. I found it very interesting. It's a job that doesn't exist anymore because technology made it so that there was electricity to run the light at the lighthouse instead of the old-fashioned way with oil when the lighthouse keepers were there. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this story. And now, if you're ever in the area where you see a lighthouse, you'll know a little bit more about what used to happen there. Have a great rest of the day. Come back so I can read to you again soon. Bye for now.